Moving on into the basketball world, I think we're going to get into some juicier topics here. We'll start with the NBA, where not a whole lot is happening. The biggest news to note is that we have people doing basically rookie max extensions. Chet Holmgren is one of them. Paolo Banchero of the Orlando Magic, and Jalen Williams, also of the OKC Thunder. So OKC's paying.
Thunder are spending a lot of money this summer.
They are spending a whole lot of the money. Rookie max extension right now is $280 for 5 years, basically. So that Thunder team is becoming very expensive very quickly.
Yeah, that seems. I mean, I get the thinking, especially after you win a championship and all, but yeah, long-term strategy, that maybe not the smartest GM move.
But yeah, potentially.
We'll see.
Out in Phoenix, after we've shifted off Kevin Durant and everyone else away from Devin Booker once again, he's agreed to a $145 million 2-year extension on his contract. He's going to be the highest paid basketball player per year.
That's wild.
It's basically $75 million a year.
That's now, does he have an agent? I know that's getting more and more popular. Or is that football I'm thinking of?
Everyone has agents.
Well, because there's a little growing pocket in the NFL circles of guys who are starting to represent themselves and be like, I'm saving that percentage.
Yeah, most of the NBA players have agents. The NFL has been very strict about who's blessed as an agent. They're the only ones, which is why it's so difficult. The NBA is less so. And then the other big news in the NBA is as CJ McCollum gets shifted off to Washington to go die out there. He also got ousted as in the NBA PA president. He did not get voted for this year, and Fred VanVleet will take over the job as the president for the NBA PA.
Okay. Well, a changing of the guard then.
For sure. CJ's been fine-ish for the most part. He's been non-controversial I would say for the least. But it'll be interesting to see what Fred does. I know, unfortunately for him, there's probably going to be a lot more on his plate potentially, especially as we've learned how the Jonas Valanciunas stuff has played out and whatnot. That
some new wrinkles to negotiate out on things.
And especially with all the injuries that we've seen in this playoffs as well, it's something else to keep in mind, at least for scheduling purposes.
Do we know when the next CBA negotiations are up yet, or how long we have before they would have to worry about extensions?
I think we have a couple years before we have to worry about extensions. So I think 30 was I think my initial thinking, but I'll have to do some research and look that up. But moving over to the W, which is very much so in season, this week has been a crazy week, and we'll see a theme as this week has gone on. The first game to take note of earlier this week that happened Sunday, actually. Yeah, last Sunday, because we didn't get to cover that one. Mm-hmm. The Storm, once again, figured out how to take down the Liberty. 79-70 was the final on that one. Sabrina led the Liberty, 22 points. But she had absolutely no help. Breanna Stewart had kind of a rough go out there, and Storm did a great job. They held the Liberty to 6 points coming out of that halftime. So Bob's your uncle, and that pretty much is how the game ended up as it did that way. And then the fun one, this is where we start to see some trends. Chicago Sky taking on the Minnesota Lynx. Not Minnesota. It is Minnesota. Yeah, the Minnesota Lynx. This one, 75-80. Actually, a little competition there. Williams and Collier just kind of put on a show. They both had 25 plus. That's kind of a lot. The Sky are not a super great scoring team. They traded basically blows through the first half. Came into halftime with a 1-point lead on the Lynx side, and Minnesota just kind of went back and forth for that whole second half. And Lynx came out with a marginal victory, which is all they really needed to end up winning this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to overcome Nafisa and Courtney Williams both popping off like that. That's going to be tough for any team to stop, much less the Sky, who are, still, I mean, has anyone really been helping Angel this season out there consistently? Not consistently.
She's had up and down help throughout, but we'll talk a little bit about more. Should be noted, Angel in this one also had a 15-15 game, is her second in a row up to that point.
Yeah, Angels have been having crazy numbers this year.
Very much so. Liberty, and we'll talk about the Liberty one more time here. Liberty finally snapped their losing streak that they've been on for a couple days now.
Quite the skid they went on there.
They did, in fact. They did snap it against the Las Vegas Aces, unfortunately. Sabrina finally did get some help in this game, and also the Aces lost Aja midway through that second quarter. She went down to injury, but some say maybe if she came back, would have been a different game. Me, mostly as a Vegas fan, says that. Vegas still struggling with some ups and downs, really trying to battle through injury. Aja's been in and out of the lineup. Unfortunately, they rely on her to do a lot, at least to be the monster that they once were. And not having her in really is tough go. Same way for any team that's missing their star player.
Yeah, that's no surprise.
And once again, the Sky come through, playing one of our top tier Washington Mystics, who we learned about a couple weeks ago. 79-81. We're closing the gap here.
No, that's so close.
Angel in this one, 22-15. But the Sky played from behind the whole way through. They never caught up. They were right there, basically a couple points away all the way through the game.
Yeah, that's a tough scoreline. Yeah, 3-point difference in the first quarter, 2 points in the second, 3 points in the third, and then they were even in the fourth. So just any one of those quarters goes the other way. Brutal.
2-point victory, though. You're 1 bucket away from forcing overtime and 1-3 away from actually winning the game. But
that definitely has to feel better than the whoopings they were getting earlier in the season. But
we're starting to see them pick up. We got to the rock bottom earlier on, like we talked about. Now we're picking up. Minnesota's a very good team. We almost got them. Mystics, we are right there, but not quite. And then the shocking one of the week, the Suns. They beat the Storm. We have unfortunately slandered the Suns quite badly on this podcast because
I think we've done factual reporting on the Connecticut Suns.
We have done factual reporting, but they've done themselves no favors and us no favors. But this one, they beat the Storm 93-83. A big victory for the little guy taking on one of the top tier guys. In this one, Tina Charles for the Sun basically drags her team to victory. Essentially,
that's crazy.
29-11-8. She dragged her team all the way to the promised land. They did an excellent job. They hold the Storm to 9 points in the final quarter.
Wild.
9 points to win the game.
That is a huge defensive and yeah, that is the difference. That's 27-9 in the fourth quarter. What a clampdown. That's impressive.
Impressive for the Sun. Little sad, or impressive for the Sun, sad for the Storm.
Sad for the Storm.
All these suns and storms and things.
Especially with they've got Ogwumike and Skylar Diggins-Smith and
Storm are very good.
And I think they played good like that.
They played fairly well except for the one quarter, and that's really all it can take. So I know as a Nuggets fan that you just lose it there. Sometimes the sun just shines too bright through the storm. Yeah,
you can't expect to win them all, but oh boy.
Yes.
Well, good for Connecticut. They needed that. That puts them at 3 wins on the season, it looks like.
We don't talk about we talk only about the wins now.
Okay.
And that is one of their ones. And then today, I didn't put it in because it was still happening as I was making my notes.
Oh boy.
Today, the Chicago Sky 87 against the Lynx 81. They finally got one against a top dog team again.
Hey.
In this one again, Angel of course leads the team at 19-11, making it her fourth 15 plus 15 double and 10 rebound game, so double for her. Cardoza actually came back to help her out, 17-15, and then Atkins 27 and 3-1, which is not. We like the 27. Can get a little bit more assists and rebounds. Collier's just running around there, kind of no help today. She had 26, McBride had 17, Williams had 13, and no one else really shone through that one, unfortunately.
Yeah, she's going to need a little bit more support out there because, when it's that kind of one-dimensional in the offense, that makes it a little easier to overcome.
Very much so. Angel Reese in the Sky, fine. I think they are trending in the right way now. They are a few, probably more games than they'd like to be back out of the playoff dreams, at least in their current standings. I think they're like 4. Yeah, they're 4 games back from a playoff spot, a for sure playoff spot. I don't know why. I just have this feeling. I think I don't know who I'm going to so this is what the playoff standings look like right now. Minnesota, I think they're for sure in. Phoenix, I think they're probably going to be a for sure in because they're the number 2 team in the league right now. The Liberties are for sure in. Seattle, no one's touching them still. Atlanta's playing fairly good still. Golden State probably will. They might drop out. I don't know what the second half will look like here as we start to head towards the All-Star break. Possible they are their first season, but it would be a hell of a ride if they made it on their inaugural season into the playoffs.
I mean, they've been overachieving all year already, so that wouldn't surprise me, but it is still a lot of games left on the schedule.
Yep, and then you have Indiana, who's currently in, and then Washington, who's currently in, and then Vegas and Chicago are like right behind them. I don't know which of the teams I'd take out for Vegas and Chicago. Washington, I think, might drop off and Vegas could sneak in, but I don't know how Chicago makes it unless Golden State or Indiana fall off. But everyone is going to want the Reese-Clark matchup in the playoffs as a potential.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you're right. I don't see... There's not an obvious way for Chicago to get in there just yet, but if they keep it up, and I mean, that's probably going to mean them having to step over a couple of these other teams along the way. But yeah, Golden State is probably your most likely, just because they're an unknown quantity right now.
Yeah, I don't know what to expect for them, and they don't have They have a culture because they've been in the league long enough now, but I don't know what the history for them looks like quite yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's an untrodden territory so far.
Yeah, I mean, I know the way they drafted their team is just a bunch of gritty dogs to sort of get it done, but I don't know if that's going to be enough towards the end there. But we'll see as the season goes on.
The other one I could see, the other way I could see it playing out is potentially a Caitlin versus Angel battle for that playoff spot by the end of the season, because the Fever have been very kind of up and down with Caitlin's injuries this year.
Yeah,
because they were like top 3 seed or something last year, weren't they? No, they squeaked in.
They did not make it at all. They were bad last year.
I thought she got them into the playoffs, but at the end there.
No, she fell short. They were bad, but not bad enough to get a top pick. She just got all. They went out in the offseason and said, "We're going to get you some help, Caitlin. Here's all these fun new tools that you can play with." And she's like, "Oh, much nicer now, much nicer."